So, this is Diesel We the People News. I am not an attorney, nor care to be an attorney. And never take legal advice from me. You must seek an attorney if you're not age and majority to be able to settle the situation by your means. Alright, I never look straight forward. I always look around me. Just in case I need to protect myself by any means necessary from anyone or anything. Alright. This is a learning video. Alrighty, so this right here. Alright. I'm gonna have to tell you guys. I watch him every so often, and I've actually put a couple of videos up of his. More here recently, because really I just like what he brings to the table, right? And he really don't look straightforward. But I do agree with a couple of things people said, right? So he just goes by black and white, right? He don't really have a center deal, okay? And I think there is some room in the center. But the one thing we have to realize that there is no center anymore. Okay? I'm not all for abolishing government or police. I'm for abolishing police, and they should be transferred to be sheriffs where we can vote them in and out. Lawfully, not legally, because legally is full of crap. Alright? I want to be able to vote them in and out lawfully. And I've had a couple of videos out there that, well, some of you guys already know. But let's listen to what he says, and that's where I beg the difference in the very end. I agree with him all the way to the very end, but there's that at the very end for me, alright?
In this video, I want to open myself up to criticism. None of us is greater than all of us. I have been accused of not being able to see nuance, or I take things in too black and white a manner. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that. But in regard to government and compromise with government or applying nuance to government, how does that apply? First of all, nuance is just a shade of meaning. How can you look at government as anything other than a group of human beings, like you and me, who have reserved for themselves the right to steal from, cage, harass, and kill the rest of us? Like that meme says, statism is the brilliant idea where we give a certain group of people the right to harass, steal from, kidnap, and kill us so that they can save us from those who harass, steal from, kidnap, and kill us. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so this point right here, right now, since that happened, I agree with him 100% at this point.
Value the intangible thing.
Second of all, the government can only give you, if you're talking about in terms of services that the government provides for society, government can only provide that which they have stolen from somebody else. They can only give you what they extracted through theft or extortion from somebody else. So are we to say that society can only function if there's a certain slice of us that are extorting and stealing from the rest of us? And when I say extortion, I'm talking about at the barrel of a government gun, because if you don't pay your taxes, or in the words of Bernie Sanders and all the leftists, pay your fair share, then the state reserves for itself the right to punish you, up to and including kidnapping, caging, and even killing you. If you don't, like if you refuse to pay a traffic ticket or a parking ticket, what's the end result? The power of the state comes down upon your head to make you pay for that. If you still refuse to pay for it, they won't let you slide. You got to pay for it. You got to pay the piper. They can't have an example of somebody successfully eluding their grasp and their tyranny. So, and if government means a body of people controlling other people against their will, what nuance am I missing there? You know, when there's these people out there that call for limited government, you're basically calling for limited tyranny, because that's what government is. Government, governo in mentis, to control the mind, or mind control. They're controllers. They want to control.
So at this point, I agree. But that's not what the founding fathers intended it for, right? Every 20 years, we're supposed to rise with pitchforks and make sure that our employees stay in line. And we're supposed to gather up around them and tell them, hey, you know, basically, you guys are getting out of hand. You're going to drop some of these laws. You're going to drop it today. And you're going to have to figure out how to do it today. And this is supposed to be going on every single 20 years. When was the last time you seen we the people gathered up nationwide in their states and demand that every 20 years, y'all? So it's we the people that is fault, not the government. Our founding fathers told you, plain out, in perfectly good English. Of course, that's the only English they knew. It was from England. Alright? We don't speak the English. We gave you a republic. It is up to you to keep it. Our founding fathers did say that it is in their nature to take control. So you must stand and fight against it. Also, the founding fathers said it's a never-ending battle with the government to get out of control. You got to stay on top of the government, because if you do not stay on top of the government, they will do exactly what this guy is saying.
Control you, and often it's controlling you against your will and without your consent. That's not free will. That's not voluntarism. That's compulsion. Is that the society we want to continue to live in? Are we okay with theft and extortion and war? And they use all these euphemisms. They call it war, but what it really is legalized mass murder. They call it the war on drugs. It's really the war on people. There's all this euphemistic terminology. They call it gun violence or gun control measures. It's not gun control. It's people control. So, like I've said time and time again, and I'll keep saying it, politics is and always will be the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement. So what nuance am I missing in regard to...
Again, everything there I agree with. Alright? In my previous videos and all that, I call it trickery of words, right? Now, it's the ignorance of the people not knowing the laws that they created. Okay? And be able to fight these things in a correct manner. Okay? Because we have not been taught over our years, right? Our parents did not know nothing with this. Our parents before then did not know this. They let the government just do what they want to do. But Lord behold, they're patriots when we get attacked by other countries. We're patriots when we go attack other countries. Let me make sure I didn't say that twice. We're patriots when other countries attack us and we fight back. We're patriots when we go attack other countries. Y'all, the Constitution and our founding fathers, we was not supposed to attack other countries. We are supposed to wait to be attacked before attacking. Right? Half these wars we wouldn't even attack being attacked. Well, we're trying to go out there and stabilize so we don't get harmed. No, they wasn't. It was all about the money. The Bible, borrow slave to the lender. Our federal government is slaved to the Federal Reserves. They're slaves. In order for them slaves to take care of their business, well, they had to have other slaves to be able to help their problems. Check out a couple of last videos I did previous from this, but it's 4 or 5 videos long. It kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. All right? Don't 100% agree with the studies I found was a little bit more in depth than what the lady did, but in most part she's right on cue, right? So in general, as this day and age, he is absolutely correct. The government is absolutely out of control. He is calling the government what it is. The president, we keep on, President Trump, President Biden, President this, President that. The president don't have no lawful authority over we the people. It's for the interests of the state. It's business, foreign commerce, overseas, be able to buy and trade and sell, and all that kind of stuff. The taxes is supposed to come from that. It's not supposed to come from we the people. You know, we get this misconceptions about it. You know, the taxes that we have now, that they did during World War One, I believe it was World War One or World War Two, but I believe it was World War One. They brought out Uncle Sam. Fuck you, Uncle Sam. All right. We started off being patriots for our army personnel, and it was actually called what we call income tax now. Was called a war tax. But what we got, we call it income tax, but it is actually a war tax. And for us being patriots, we said yes. Okay? To help our brothers and sisters out there fighting the Great War, World War One and World War Two and all that, right? That's the reason why wars got to keep going. Keep going. They got to feed the war tax. All right? So as of right now, I'm agreeing with him on all this.
A man or group of men wanting to control another man or group of men without their consent. See, I'm not against coordination. I'm not against organization. I'm not against mutual voluntary exchange and interaction. It's what you see in like a grocery store. I'm in a grocery store parking lot right now. That grocery store does not function in a compulsory governmental manner. It functions via voluntarism. People volunteering their time, their effort, their energy in order to make a profit. There's massive amounts of management and organization that goes into a grocery store or a mall. Something that takes a massive amount of cooperation and coordination.
Seriously posting from campus.
Again, so far he's right on cue, y'all. And the biggest headaches is government interference.
And you know what that means?
We talk about taxing the rich.
I'll be taking down 4 of Bayview's biggest.
But if the government was completely out of it,
I've got enough dirt to bury them.
they'd still be rich.
Your obsession with other people's lives is pathetic.
But they still don't really do their fair share of taxes because it goes to me
Simon?
to pay it, right? You know how much the owner of Facebook makes? $1 a year.
Has a couple questions.
Because he knows how to screw the system.
One of us did it. Without Simon, you get to be valedictorian.
You're accusing me now.
We don't know how to screw the system,
I don't know you.
but he knows how to screw the system,
We need to work together now.
right?
And why should we trust
And I had to be perfectly honest with y'all. He's doing it the right way.
You guys have no secrets.
We're the ones doing it the wrong way.
Not too much on the line.
And it's a success. And you don't need government, you don't need anybody standing over you with a gun saying, hey, if you don't do this, you're going to be punished. All they need to know is if I'm not efficient, if I don't coordinate, if I don't voluntarily interact with these people, then I'm not going to profit. So I'm highly motivated as a private individual and entrepreneur to make sure that this thing works efficiently and effectively. That's going to guarantee me a higher margin of profits. So what am I missing in regard to nuance, which has to do with government, which is control, which is tyranny, which is oppression? Because again, the government can't give you something that it doesn't first steal from somebody else. Are we okay with the immorality of stealing? Do we all recognize that it is wrong to take something from somebody without their consent? Because in other spheres, if you and I did what the government does to us, we would be called criminals, and rightly so. Why aren't they called criminals? Well, it's because most people are under the delusion that they are the authority, that they have been bestowed.
We're going to pause it there again. People, they have no authority and no lawful reason to be after you unless you have created harm upon another. That is all the power they lawfully have. They unlawfully made up this legalese terms, codes, and statutes that's not supposed to exist in the United States. Well, we need them. No, we don't. And you guys sit there and argue, well, we do need them. Really? When in your lifetime did you actually live and verify with zero codes and statutes around to be even make that comparison? Right? In my lifetime, I never lived in the United States without codes and statutes. So how can you tell me that you need it if you never knew how life was before codes and statutes? We have moonshiners. Why? Because the country unlawfully created a law saying you couldn't drink alcohol. And the grand juries keep on not indicting people because every single one of them would love to go buy alcohol. They didn't think the government had any business interfering in it. And rightfully so. The Supreme Court says it's okay for Japanese men, women, and children to be locked up in a cage here in the United States while they was United States citizens, wink wink, but because they was at war with Japanese, they was found guilty without court. And yet the Supreme Court says that it was constitutional. No, it wasn't. It was not. And you know what? It's never been overturned, y'all. So if we ever go to war against the Englishmen, 90% of the United States, 80%, I don't even know what the percent is nowadays, but you know what I'm saying. If we go to war with English, guess who's all got to go into a cage? If we go to war with Chinese, all the Chinese got to be put in cages. If we got to go to war to Canada, well, all the people from Canada have got to go in cages. All because the Supreme Court says they can do it.
Some kind of godlike power that none of the rest of us have. They have the right to boss us around, and if we don't comply with them, they have the right to punish us. So they reserve for themselves the moral right to rule others, and on the other side of it, they expect us to be obligated to obey their rulership or be in their
You know what that's called? Sovereign citizens.
eyes rightly punished. And yet, if you did that same action, if you carried that same action out onto another human being, that very state would come at you as though you are a criminal. So, again, what nuance am I missing with regard to applying shades of meaning to government and how human beings should interact with each other? People are like basically saying, well, your purest attitude is going to basically hamstring society. How is it a purest attitude as opposed to just a normal attitude of, hey, I'm against all forms of theft. I'm against all forms of coercion and fraud and murder, no matter what you call it on the other side as a euphemism to try to get that pill of the lie to go down the throat of somebody you want to defraud. Leave your thoughts about this. I am open, guys. I am open to the court of public opinion, but make sure it's a reasoned, logical, morally based argument. Feel free to call me names or whatever. You can do that in the court of public opinion too. But the bottom line is if it's wrong to steal, then it's wrong for everybody to steal, no matter what hat they wear, no matter what fancy name they have that precedes their the title that precedes their name. It doesn't matter. Theft is and will always be theft. Extortion will always be extortion. Murder and kidnapping and threats of violence and fraud and coercion will always be those things, no matter that people try to explain it away by saying, well, that's government, that's acceptable. We can't, a morally based, reputation-based society can't tolerate such evil in their land. Because what ends up happening? Well, what you see unfolding before your very eyes today, in America, in New Zealand, in Australia, in Canada, and then people go, well, they're just following orders, and they start making excuses for the evil actions of badged, uniformed law enforcers and their political overlords. So let me know where I'm wrong on that. I'm willing to, totally be corrected. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support this channel, grab one of these hard-hitting conversation-starting designs that you can put on a shirt, hoodie, mug, sticker, whatever you want to in the store. And also, if you haven't done so already, prepare yourself and get enough dry, storable food for you and your family before the S really hits the fan. I've got a link for that in the description as well, and you get $50 off with that. I will see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video. Hey guys, we know with the way things have...
Okay. So his other channel was High Impact. So look him up. And then also he's been running it quite often on this one. So Grease Monkey Video. Now, he does bring a lot of contents and a lot of common sense. And it's out of some people's legs. Some of us do want to be slaves. Not even know it, but they still want to be slaves. They just want to go to work, come home, and be left alone. However, in a lot of cases, CPS comes in and does not leave them alone. However, sometimes you do an accident and they don't leave you alone. So, my issue on the government itself is we do need the original intent of the government. It does need to be small. And they say rulers and controllers, right? But it was not designed that way during original intent. Okay? It got added on through the years, y'all, to give themselves more power. But during the beginning, that wasn't the original intent. The original intent is we had inalienable rights. Read the Declaration of Independence, y'all. So that tells you the original intent. You know, it was trades and bargains, and that's how the government got to survive. It was agreements with foreign commerce and all that kind of stuff. The government was not supposed to take any type of money from us, but the government was not supposed to be $40 freaking trillion in the freaking hole. The government wasn't there designed to be, our protection, all right? There's there to kind of make things at ease, right? And go after, real crime. Okay? That you need to help in the state of Texas, most people don't even know this. But in the state of Texas, it is still legal and lawful that a sheriff can still come to your house and deputize you to go onto a manhunt. And yes, I did check on to a sheriff, this has been a few years ago, that they still had it. But yeah, you can actually literally, they don't want to take responsibility for it anymore, right? Because there's too many lawsuits out there. Well, why would that make any difference now, right? They keep on violating everybody's rights. They're getting lawsuits all the time anyway. But the main issue of the whole situation is that it's supposed to be limited. The Supreme Court's had no power. We, the people, had power. So the Supreme Court could go, yeah, this is constitutional. Congress could have passed this. But we, the people, could have said, well, it don't matter if it's constitutional or not. We don't want it. Kiss our ass. Get rid of it. Right? But we're supposed to have, 11,000 congressmen and women to be able to contact our congressmen. Our senators is not supposed to be for the people. It's supposed to be for the state. That way we can contact our representatives and say, hey, our senator's not doing his job correctly to benefit our state. So, get him out. It didn't take all this federal government thing to get rid of them, or all these paperworks. We had X amount of people called and fire them. And even then, our representatives, if they thought that he didn't represent the state in the best manner, they could fire him the next day. This taking months and voting and all that kind of stuff, that's not what it was designed to do. Our representatives in our states have full control and say, hey, buddy, Tim Cruz, get your butt over here. Get back home. You're fired. Congress is only supposed to meet up once a year. They technically weren't supposed to just live over there, making all thousands of laws every day. They're supposed to meet up once a year, y'all. So, yes, I am 100% in agreement with him on that. But as government-wise, we do need some type of government control to make sure to be able to protect our rights. Somebody breaks in my house and I shoot them. Well, I need, really the sheriffs come in here and kind of investigate and make sure that my inalienable rights was protected because, well, he entered my property. I said, well, there's not a whole lot we can do here. They shouldn't even have to see an attorney. They shouldn't go to a district attorney. They shouldn't go to court. Why? Because the sheriff was supposed to investigate their job good enough to say, hey, no charges. Guy entered his house. He shouldn't have entered. He's not alive no more. All right. You're free to go. I didn't commit a crime by protecting myself. That's what the government is supposed to do. Is come investigate and make sure I wasn't the murderer. Right? Well, you're supposed to... This thing about equal force, right? So, the only way I'm be able to shoot a guy to enter my house is because he had a gun. Wrong. So, if he comes into my house and has no weapons at all, and he's 250 pounds and I'm 130 pounds, I'm just supposed to sit there and box him. Right? No. Just saying, y'all. Government's out of control. They got authorities that you do not have. And we're giving them all this authority by saying, hey, they have authority. Well, why don't you just call yourself authority? Don't sit there and contradict yourself. Oh, let's see here. I'm their bosses, but they have authority. What? You just contradict yourself. You just literally contradict yourself. I'm their bosses, but yet they have authority. How's that work, y'all? All right. Be so We the People News. Bye.